Stan Moran back in the ESPN Classic studios. It's a time-honored tradition for fathers to take their sons to a baseball game. But how about a father and son suiting up for a ball game for the same team? Such was the case for Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. in 1990. They made history by becoming the first father-son combination to play for the same Major League team. With more, here's Kenny Mayne in this vintage SportsCenter report from 1990.
Family game night in the Kingdome, and the Mariner players brought their children, except for the child star who brought his father.
Come on, kid. Okay, he's just a little taller than I am, that's all. Hold on.
Last season, they were the first father-son combination to simultaneously play in the majors. With the claim of Ken Sr. by the Mariners, another piece of Griffey and baseball history was written.
Well, this is, I guess, the pinnacle, really. This is the thing that in my career that I'm very proud of. Very proud of. So, you know, you can talk about the 76 batting race and all that, but this is, for me, #1. Let's see where I can find the outfield. Is it anywhere close?
While the Mariners stand alone in the father-son stat chart, they also sit by themselves in an inglorious team category, the only club never to play 500 for a season. The team's critics will question whether this was a baseball move or purely public relations. Ken Griffey Sr. arrives in Seattle batting local area code. That's 206, but that's 1990. The career book on Griffey is a 296 average and 2 World Series rings, a proven winner. So the Mariners make no apologies for accepting publicity that knocked on the door. Plans are to use the elder Griffey as a left fielder, DH, and pinch hitter. Whatever his role, he says there's no extra burden for having been picked up by the Mariners, principally because of his son.
I don't believe in pressure. I never have and never will. Pressure is what you put on yourself and capable of doing things that you're not capable of doing. And I'm just going to stay within myself and do what I have to do to help this club win.
Junior downplays the acquisition of his father as the acquisition of any other.
You're acting like it's no big deal, but you're acting a little different today. You're a little more keyed up, it seems like.
No, just normal. I don't know. Wednesday.
But not your normal Wednesday, and in the end, if it is only good for publicity, it will have been great publicity. And in what may be Ken Griffey Sr.'s last hurrah, he earned the right to exit baseball's world with the one he brought into the world.
We're now proud to present one of the Griffey's most unforgettable games, the Seattle Mariners against the California Angels from September 14th, 1990. But you'll have to stick around and find out why. Believe me, you don't want to miss them make even more history together. And still to come, the origins of the Griffeys, as Junior breaks into the bigs and a proud senior watches from Cincinnati. Our Father's Day celebration continues here on ESPN Classic.
Welcome to Anaheim Stadium, home of the California Angels and host to the Seattle Mariners. We pick up the action with the game just underway. Kurt McCaskill has just walked leadoff hitter Harold Reynolds. And we now join Steve Zabriskie and Joe Morgan for the call.
So here's Ken Griffey, who's hitting a cool .484 since coming to the Mariners to join his son, who bats behind him tonight. 2 homers, 11 RBIs, 15 for 31. And in talking to Kenny before the game, he said the big difference is that coming over here, he's getting some consecutive at-bats.
As he said, he was taking weeks between at-bats when he was with Cincinnati. But again, he wasn't frustrated or anything. He was just saying that was the way it was, because the Reds were trying to win a pennant, and Lou Piniella was using the people that he thought, you know, could do the job. So he was just frustrated because he felt he could do a better job than he was, you know, having a chance to do.
And he is almost as happy about being able to play regularly as he is about being able to be on the same club with his son. Reynolds at first, nobody out. And does Griffey hold up? No, he does not. Foul tip it.
The one thing that I've always said about Ken Griffey is that he is the best fastball hitter I've ever seen in my 20-plus years in the major leagues. He can hit a fastball in, out, up, down, anywhere. He could handle anybody's fastball.
And his bat has not slowed down all that much.
I guarantee he can still handle anyone's fastball.
Even at the age of 40. Pulled foul outside first. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Ken Griffey Jr. is on deck. Griff is 10th among active players with career base hits. He has 2,105.
And he had a 300 lifetime batting average until the last couple of years. It's dropped below 300.
Well, he's helping it inch back up there now. Well hit to center field. Devon White going back. Gone! A 2-run home run.
And he can still hit anybody's fastball.
An instantaneous 2-0 Seattle lead. And 40-year-old Ken Griffey hits his 3rd home run since coming to the Mariners.
I mean, that's a great sight to see him come to home plate and be congratulated by his son. It's a high fastball, and Ken Griffey knows what to do with the high fastball. Devon White gives it a great try. It was well over the center field fence.
So here's Ken Jr. who takes the ball, hitting .299, 19 homers and 67 RBIs. Ball 2. Actually, the Griffey's given names are George Kenneth Griffey and George Kenneth Griffey Jr.
Sounds better as Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey.
Well,
sounds like they can hit.
Kenny changed his name very early. Went with the middle name. And he hits one well to left center field. Dante Bichette. Back-to-back home runs.
What else can these guys do?
Not to be outdone, says Junior. His 20th of the year.
Alan Davis.
And Junior can also hit a fastball. This one's away, and he shows a little more strength. He hits it to the opposite field. Bichette goes back, but you can see that's well over the left field wall.
Well, that brought Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach for the Angels, out in a quick hurry. They say it was measured at 388 feet, and there's the the smile of a proud dad, but he's still got to get on him a little bit.
Well, and I think the great thing about the Griffeys, it's not like a father-son relationship. They're more like brothers. I mean, they really kid each other in the clubhouse. I went in before the ball game, and I've known them both for a number of years. And I went inside, and Griffey Jr. was riding Dad, and Dad was riding Junior, and I joined in as well.
Breaking ball to Alvin Davis into the hole, cut off by Rick Shue, who gets it to McCaskill, and that's the first out of the inning.
Batting fifth, number 12, first baseman.
That'll bring up Pete O'Brien.
O'Brien.
And the Mariners lineup tonight is loaded with left-handers. Only Jay Bruner and Edgar Martinez will swing the bat from the right side against Kurt McCaskill. California, on the other hand, has all right-handers in their lineup because of the left-hander Young pitching for Seattle. O'Brien takes a ball. Pete hitting .230 with 5 homers and 26 RBIs, but he does have a 9-game hitting streak going, over which he's hit .353. That's a great. I mean, that's a lot of fathers and sons' fantasies have come true.
No doubt. I mean, I know of a couple other ex-teammates of mine that wanted to have the same thing happen. Pete Rose and Pete Rose Jr. and Hal McRae and Brian McRae. And it didn't happen, but these two guys, I mean, it's unbelievable.
And it's ball 4 to O'Brien. Second walk of the inning. And we'll check out the Sears diehard starting lineup for the Mariners, even though we're halfway through it. We do want to show you who's in the lineup tonight for Seattle. Harold Reynolds led off. Ken Griffey, then Ken Griffey Jr., Alvin Davis, Pete O'Brien, right fielder Jay Bruner, who's up now. Third baseman Edgar Martinez bats 7th. The catcher Scott Bradley bats 8th. And Omar Vizquel, the shortstop, hits 9th. Bruner hitting .259, 5 homers and 22 RBIs. O'Brien at first with 1 out. 3 runs are in here in the first. The Griffeys with back-to-back home runs. And McCaskill down 3-0.
I don't think we could have asked for a better start to this ball game, could we?
Especially since this is really the first time that the Griffeys have been on national television in the lineup together. I wonder if they realize that themselves. I
Probably not.
I kind of doubt.
Knowing the two as I do, I mean, they're very carefree. And when I say they're more like brothers, it's because Ken Griffey, he's still a kid at heart. You know, he still smiles a lot. He still has a great time being around the ballpark. He's not like an old, stale veteran.
The high fastball missed by Bruner. And he's out of there for out number 2.
And the defense for the Angels have Dave Winfield in right, Devon White in center, Dante Bichette is in left, Bobby Rose at third, Dick Schofield at short, Johnny Ray at second, Rick Shue at first, Lance Parrish doing the catching, and Kurt McCaskill on the mound.
And there's the rooster, Doug Rader, the California manager.
And I guess I was incorrect there. Dick Schofield Jr. is his shortstop.
Yeah, but we don't have to call him that because his dad's not playing anymore. Edgar Martinez, the hitter, hitting .299 with 11 homers and 44 RBIs. But he is in what you might call a major slump. He's had 1 hit in his last 26 at bats.
I think that qualifies as major.
Yeah.
Although I went 0 for 36 once, I think that was a major slump.
That's a hole so deep you may not see the sun. Get to that point, you'd do anything for a base hit.
I've tried.
I'm sure you did. Sharply hit to short. Schofield goes to Ray the short way, and the inning is over. However, 3 runs on 2 hits, back-to-back home runs by the Griffeys, 3-0.
Dan Patrick at TTI Fridays. Can I have the autograph, please?
Sure, bye.
Thanks, Mr. Patrick.
Don't mention it.
Will she feel the same way if you lose your hair?
Sure. She'll just feel it about somebody else.
Don't worry, I love you. Anyway, you don't have to lose it.
Are you talking about Rogaine?
Rogaine? Maybe. Why not?
Rogaine. Yeah, why not? It's simple, it's safe, and it's clinically proven to help stop hair loss and regrow hair. Does she want you to use Rogaine? Better ask.
Dan, just because I make a few constructive comments every now and again and I care about organizational detail doesn't make me a control freak, okay? Miss, can we get a boatload of napkins over here for Mr. Sloppy?
Grandmom couldn't come with us.
Chronic bronchitis or emphysema associated with COPD can keep you from doing simple things.
Sometimes she can't breathe right.
But taking Ceravent helps me take fuller breaths.
Nothing can reverse COPD, but taking Ceravent twice a day can help improve your lung function around the clock. One call is all it takes to find out more about managing your COPD. Call 1-800-613-8526 right now to get 10 tips for taking fuller breaths and a $10 rebate. Ceravent should not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms or be taken more than twice a day. Some people may experience increased blood pressure, heart rate, or changes in heart rhythm. Ceravent is prescription medicine and may not be right for everyone. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure, or take MAOIs or tricyclic antidepressants. Ask your doctor if Ceravent is right for you and start taking fuller breaths. Call now for your free tips and rebate offer.
Jordan, look at that! Holy cow! The snap to Elway. Gets it to Gretzky. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! Save, rebound, score! Do you believe it?
Welcome back to Anaheim. A 3-0 Seattle lead quickly as we go to the bottom half of the first inning. And we'll take a look now at the Sears Die-Hard starting lineup for the hometown Angels tonight. Dick Schofield, junior or not, will lead off and play shortstop. Johnny Ray, the second baseman, bats second. The designated hitter, Brian Downing, hits third. Dave Winfield in right field, batting fourth. Catcher Lance Parrish bats fifth. Batting sixth, the left fielder, Dante Bichette. First baseman Rick Shue hits seventh. Rookie third baseman Bobby Rose will be in the eighth position, and Devon White bats ninth.
And the defense for Seattle will have Jay Buna in right, Ken Griffey Jr. in center, Ken Griffey in left. Edgar Martinez is at third. Omar Vizquel is the shortstop. Harold Reynolds at second. Pete O'Brien will be at first base. Scott Bradley will be the catcher, and on the mound, left-hander Matt Young. And there you see Matt Young. Throws a good slider and pretty good sinker. Throws pretty hard on occasion.
He does have 148 strikeouts this year and 195 2/3 innings. And Schofield couldn't hold up. Foul tipped it. Strike one. Schofield batting .250 with a home run and 14 RBIs. 1-1.
We talked about Schofield being a junior. His father's nickname was Ducky.
And they call him Scoey.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd call him Ducky,
exactly.
wouldn't you?
Or Little Ducky.
Or Little Ducky. But the guys on the club call him Scoey.
Well, it shows the difference, you know.
I guess.
His father played a long time ago when nicknames were very prominent. Now they just take your last name or your first name and shorten it.
They mess with it is what they do. Oh, the ball stayed down and Martinez couldn't come up with it. Schofield will have an infield base hit. Would not have been an easy play had the ball come up for Martinez, but it hit right on the edge of the grass.
Well, he grounds it in a perfect spot, right between short and third. Third baseman goes wide to his left, Martinez, and the ball stays down. By the time Vizquel comes up with it, no chance for a play at first base. Schofield runs well.
So he's at first for Johnny Ray, who's hitting .282 with 4 homers and 36 RBIs, and takes low and inside. Ball one.
Johnny Ray's the kind of player you know exactly what you're going to get when you put him in the lineup in April. You know that he's going to hit between 280 and 300. He's going to drive in a few runs for you, hit a few home runs. Nothing spectacular either way. He's never going to have real big slumps, and he's never going to hit 400 or 500 for, you know, half a season. He's just a good, solid ball player.
He loves to hit here at home. He's hit in 13 straight here at home. And for the 9th straight season, Johnny Ray has 100-plus hits to illustrate your point of consistency.
Yeah. Very consistent. And, of course, it helps because he is a switch hitter.
Matt Young making his 30th start of the year. And he's pitched 6 complete games. Looping foul. It'll be out of play. The umpiring crew here tonight, pretty veteran crew with Darrell Cousins behind the plate, Rick Reed at first, Terry Cooney at second, and the crew chief, who also has an umpiring school in Florida, Joe Brinkman at third base.
Yeah, he and Bruce Froemming have an umpiring school together.
Yeah, and Harry Wendelstedt has another one, another crew chief who's in the National League. Johnny Ray down on strikes. As a Young picks up his first strike and the first out in the bottom of the first inning.
Well, with all the problems they're having with the umpires this year, their school may be graduating some guys soon. And we mentioned Matt Young with the good slider. You could see the pitch go right down. Johnny Ray tried to hold up, but he could not. The thing that Matt Young does so well, he throws that slider down and in to the right-handers, and that's one of the toughest pitches to handle for a right-hander, ball breaking down and in from a left-hander.
Steve Carlton made a career out of it.
That's all Steve Carlton did, was throw the slider down and in, and you could not lay off of it. It always looked like it was going to be a strike until you swung.
Here's the guy that has become Mr. Angel, Brian Downing. He is the longest in tenure of anybody on the club. He also is the all-time leader in many Angels offensive categories, and he is the designated hitter.
And he was also the guy who was left out at the beginning of the season. But he's come on to have a very good season since he's been allowed to play. The first time we were here to do a game, there was even talk of him retiring. You know, that they thought maybe that was time for him to leave. But he's proven that he can still swing the bat. He can still be Brian Downing and be helpful to a ball club.
Brian started his career with the Angels as a catcher. Outside corner, and the count 2-2.
One of the other things you get with Brian Downing is that he takes a lot of pitches, he knows the strike zone, and he gets on base a lot, so he gets a lot of walks for you.
Not this time, as he chases the high heat. Second strikeout for Young, second out of the inning, as Schofield remains at first.
Number 36.
Well, we see Young strike Johnny Ray out with a slider down and in. This is a fastball up and out of the strike zone. When he strikes guys out, it's because they chase pitches out of the strike zone. Downing could not get the bat up in time to handle that fastball. He doesn't strike you out by throwing you a curveball for strike 3 call or a fastball on the outside corner for strike 3. He strikes you out by having you chase a pitch that starts in the strike zone and moves out.
Dave Winfield now, who takes the ball. Winfield hitting .258, but it has no hits in his last 18 at bat. No, excuse me. He has no hits in 18 at bats against Seattle. This year.
He had a good day before.
Yeah, because last night he went 0 for 5 against the Mariners.
It's funny because I would bet you if you asked Dave Winfield that question, are you 0 for 18 against the Mariners, he'd probably say no. You don't remember that because you play a team and then you leave for a while and then you come back, and you don't remember all the time that, hey, I haven't gotten a hit against these guys in 4 or 5 ball games.
Unless some member of the media happens to bring it up,
or some member of the television broadcasting crew.
And Dave way out in front of that pitch. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Those things are often just anomalies, but sometimes guys do struggle against a particular staff just because of the matchups. 2-2.
Also, sometimes, which may not be the case here as such, but sometimes one staff may know exactly how to pitch you. They may have pitchers who can pitch to that weakness. Because you have a weakness and because they know about it doesn't mean that all their staff can get to that weakness.
And the runner, Schofield, goes, and Winfield pulls it foul into the first row.
There's a happy fan.
I think she's happy that the ball didn't hit her. It was smoked.
Let me clarify my point there. For instance, say you have a guy who's you can get him out with a high fastball, but your staff is basically sinker ball pitchers, so you cannot get to the weakness. You can't throw the high sinker because he can handle that. But a good high fastball will get the guy out, but if your staff throws sinkers, you're going to have trouble with that guy.
Jim Lefevre, the Seattle manager, has a goal for the Mariners to get to 500. The Mariners have never had a 500 season as Winfield fouls another one off. Not only would 500 be a record. They have a chance to set a new one-loss record without getting to 500. The 87 season was their best. And if they were to go 9-9 over these last 18 games, they would set a new record. But, of course, they'd like to do better than that and get to 500 at least.
Yeah, I think 500 is the goal.
Too low. Schofield running, and he's out. Good play by Harold Reynolds on the short hop pickup to get the tag on Schofield to end the inning. One hit, but nobody left. Still 3-0.
Check this out. Go to some auto insurance company websites and try to get instant quotes and instant coverage. Can't do it. At Progressive, our website is different.
You can do things at Progressive.com that you can't do at other websites.
I got an instant quote from Progressive and rates for 3 other leading companies.
No waiting for emails. No pushy callbacks.
If we can't save you money, we'll tell you who can.
I bought my policy online in the blink of an eye.
Or if you want, call us anytime at 1-800-AUTOPRO.
At Progressive.com, I can pay my bill online, even add a new car if I want.
And now you can access Progressive on the Sprint PCS wireless web.
More people visit Progressive.com than any other auto insurance website.
Those other websites might as well be called can'tdodiddly.com.
We've given the auto insurance industry a big upgrade.
Shop and buy at Progressive.com. Rated the #1 online insurance carrier for the 3rd time.
Now batting, Mark McGwire. In-depth stats on where they hit them and everything else baseball straight from the source. MLB.com. Connect with it.
With Seattle still leading California 3-0, we move to the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Dave Winfield was batting when Schofield was caught stealing in the 1st inning. So Winfield gets a new AB, which is not too shabby because he was in the hole at the time. Dave hitting .258. 4th on the active list, and #1 on that home run list is Dewey Evans of Boston. Up the middle, backhanded by Reynolds, who gets him.
That's why he wins Gold Gloves. Fine defensive second baseman.
And Winfield now 0 for 19 against the Mariners this year.
The ball is hit up the middle. See, that's a tough hop, the in-between hop. And then he has to right himself and make an accurate throw to first base because Winfield still runs pretty well.
So 1 out, nobody on for Lance Parrish, who's hitting .262 with 21 homers, 62 RBIs. Parrish, however, also in a slump, only 3 hits in his last 36 at-bats.
It's funny how that also seems to happen in September a lot of times to a lot of guys, where you struggle in September if you're not in a pennant race. You know, it's a little tougher for a veteran to keep going when all he has is his personal statistics to worry about.
And I think, too, it's tougher for catchers in September. Lance Parrish has caught a lot of games, and catchers have the most wear and tear on them if they catch regularly than any other position.
I think the thing that surprises me the most when you talk about that is Sandy Alomar Jr. He seems to catch every day and continue to play well, which is surprising, but of course he's younger than Parrish and some of the other veteran catchers.
I really do believe that not only the games per season, you know, the games in a season get to you, but the games per season get to you after a while. September gets a lot longer after you've done it 10 Septembers in a row.
You're a good point.
Matt Young with a little changeup on the outside corner to get Lance Parrish his 3rd strikeout, 2 out in the 2nd.
We talked about Matt Young being able to strike out a lot of hitters, and this is a perfect example. But again, it's a ball. It starts toward the outside corner and moves away, and it's a changeup. And Parrish was fooled by the speed of the pitch, not necessarily the movement.
Dante Bichette, the left fielder, hitting .261, 15 homers and 53 RBIs. He, however, has been in anything but a slump. He's been on fire. Fouled off. Over the last 23 games, Bichette has hit .390. Two and one.
Who do you think is going to win the American League East?
Well, I'll tell you what. If I were a long-suffering Red Sox fan, I would immediately vote for Toronto just on past experience and gut feeling. I really think that lately, especially the question mark that hangs over Roger Clemens right now, the swing is toward the Blue Jays, especially the way they're playing. Tonight, of course, a prime example of that is they only for the second time came from behind, and that's our Sunday night game. It'll be at Toronto. We don't know whether the Sky Dome will be open or not, but the Orioles and the Blue Jays will be there, and John Miller and Joe Morgan will bring it to you at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Bichette down on strikes. 4 strikeouts for Matt Young, and he has gotten the minimum 6 through the first 2.
Oh, the shark has pretty teeth, dear, and he shows them a pearly white.
It's called jazz. And now, all the best jazz is together in one collection.
And tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking out.
Time Life Music presents the Classic Jazz Collection. Count Basie, Billie Holiday, Nat King Cole.
Get your kicks on Route 66.
Dave Brubeck. Get classic jazz on 2 CDs or 2 cassettes. Stan Getz, Miles Davis, Ella Fitzgerald.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got.
Then audition other great jazz albums. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Miss the Saturday dance.
So call now and get 2 albums of classic jazz.
To order classic jazz, use your credit card and call 1-800-995-3131 or send $19.99 for 2 CDs or 2 cassettes plus $3.99 shipping to Classic Jazz, Department 2, Richmond, Virginia 23280.
Tonight, ESPN Classic is going back in time, 60 years. Joe Louis was the unbeatable champ. Billy Conn was the underdog challenger. When they met, boxing history was made.
You never expected Joe Louis to lose.
But Louis was about to meet one of his toughest opponents.
Here was this skinny little kid fighting the invincible man.
Find out why boxing fans consider this fight one of the greatest. The 60th anniversary of Louis versus Conn, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific, only on ESPN Classic.
Griffey squared right there, father and son talking, and before the game I talked to Ken Sr. about the experience of playing on the same team with his son.
Well, I think we've gotten a lot closer. He's found out that I can play the game of baseball instead of him just watching it as he was when he was younger and just seeing his dad playing the game. But he found out I can do things out there on the field that sometimes he, just admires a little bit. But the whole thing is we're getting a lot closer, and we're more like brothers now than we were father and son. So that is what it's all about right now. We're just real close.
And Joe, you think about the fact that when Ken Jr. was growing up, Kenny was on the road a lot, as we all are in baseball.
That's why all fathers and sons of, that are baseball players and their fathers are baseball players really do not have a chance to be close as a regular father and son because of the senior is always traveling. And I think that was a very good example right there. They are closer now than they were, and that's only been in a short period of time. You have to realize they've only been together here for, a couple of weeks. And you have to realize how much closer he feels they've gotten in that 2-week period.
A lot of love between those two guys, and they're together all the time on the field in the dugout. Alvin Davis grounded to first his first time up. Davis, O'Brien, and Buhner here for Seattle, leading 3-0. Now it's 3-2 with Davis.
I think the other thing that Ken Griffey brings to this Mariner team is a sense of winning, a guy that has won before and he knows how to play the game, and that'll rub off on a lot of these young players.
But when you have a team such as Seattle does, Ken Jr.
He's still
out of the way. When you have a team such as Seattle's with so many young players, you really need a veteran or two around to help them out, to talk to them. I think Carlton Fisk has been a great influence on the White Sox in that regard.
No doubt about it.
Especially with the young pitchers they have. And one thing about Ken, he'll keep them loose.
No doubt about that. He's well, like I say, he is really not an old, stale veteran. Ken Griffey is just a guy that loves to play baseball, and it shows. And I think that's the great thing. I think it shows to the young players on the Mariners, this guy really loves to play.
Finally, after fouling off 4 or 5, Davis goes down. It is the second strikeout for Kurt McCaskill. And the first out of the third inning.
This looks like a little sinker. You can see the ball go down, but it took a little bit off. So maybe it was a changeup as well. You can see he was out in front of it.
That brings up Pete O'Brien, who walked in the first inning and then was forced at second. Strike one.
When I first saw Pete O'Brien, I thought he was going to be just an unbelievable hitter because he could hit the ball so hard.
1-1.
And he's had some good years, but I thought he was going to be a guy that hit 320, hit 25 home runs every year and driving 100 runs, which is asking a lot, but that's the way I felt about him when I first saw him.
And he takes strike 2, 1-2. Well, he is really a line drive hitter.
Right.
And I mentioned earlier, he's working on that 9-game hitting streak, hitting 353. Breaking ball, grounded to first. Tough hop for Shue. He gets it to McCaskill, out number 2. 2 out and nobody on for Jay Buhner, who struck out swinging in the first inning. Big curveball for a strike. The Mariners leading 3-0 on back-to-back home runs by the Griffeys in the top of the first. And a slider chase for strike 2. I don't think Buhner saw a fastball from McCaskill his first time up either.
And he hasn't seen one this one either. I don't think he will unless it's way out of the strike zone. The pattern that he wants to use is the breaking ball and changeup.
1 ball and 2 strikes, and play stopped for a moment as the ball got loose out there. That ball, not a baseball, in the Angels bullpen. Boys will be boys. Sinker's fouled off, out of play. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
That tells you right there that Buhner's a very good fastball hitter. Anytime you can get under a sinker, it means that you can really handle a fastball. Even guys that are pretty good fastball hitters will still hit the sinker on the ground.
2-2 now.
So McCaskill immediately goes back to the curveball.
Just showed him something, and
yeah, I don't think he'll show him again.
He doesn't want to see it again.
No.
There's a breaking ball that gets him. It's working. He struck out Buhner twice, and he struck out 3. California still trailing by 3.
Thousands of drivers are saving money by switching to Geico Auto Insurance. I'm here with one of them.
Hello.
You don't want your identity revealed. Why?
If word got out I saved so much, people would be hitting me up for money all the time.
Ah.
You through with the milk?
Sure, of course.
I have to be careful.
Geico Direct. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Let's see the perfect notebook through your eyes. A big vivid screen, a fast Intel Pentium 3 processor, one-touch internet access. How about the power to turn heads? Oh, you'd like a deal. Okay. Get the compact Presario 1700T for just $13.99. To buy, call toll-free 1-888-269-3679 now and get a $50 instant rebate on any compact Presario notebook PC with an Intel Pentium 3 processor.
Sports Century Friday.
You are watching what greatness is all about.
Celtics legend Larry Bird.
Larry Bird was so good, it's frightening.
His father's tragic suicide.
He killed himself, Larry believes, so the family could have the insurance money.
The historic rivalry.
When Magic announced that he had the AIDS virus, Bird broke down and cried.
And the darker side of his past.
That is the mystery in Larry's life.
Larry Bird, Sports Century, the top 50 and beyond. Friday at 8, only on ESPN Classic.
The jewel-like Big A in the California nighttime as we go now to the bottom half of the third inning. The Mariners leading the Angels 3-0, and Rick Shue leading it off as Matt Young will face the bottom third of the California order. Shue hitting .261, 5 homers, 13 RBIs, and he takes a strike. It's 1-1. Rookie Bobby Rose and then center fielder Devon White to follow. A little bit high, 2-1. And you see the scores where in that National League Eastern Division race, both Pittsburgh and New York lost, so it's still a game and a half. The Pittsburgh lead. And Boston losing in the bottom of the 8th, so with Toronto's 9th inning victory, Blue Jays can pick up a game. 2-2, and a ball lofted into short left field. Griffey coming in and makes the catch.
During his career, I think Griffey was an underrated outfielder. He always hit the cutoff man, and he always threw to the correct base. He's always been a very smart player. You know, nothing flashy. He didn't steal 100 bases or do things like that, but he was always very steady and complete.
And it may take him an extra step to get it going, but those 40-year-old legs can still move pretty good. Bobby Rose, this is his first at-bat this season after hitting .283 in Edmonton, and he loops one down the right field line that's going to fall in for a base hit. It's not his first major league hit, as he was up with the Angels at the end of last season and got that. But in his first at-bat this season, he gets a single.
Well, sometimes we on the bench would say he hit it like you threw it. He didn't throw it with very much velocity, and he didn't hit it very hard, but it worked.
Not a hitter in the world that won't take it.
No, you don't throw him back.
Here's Devon White, who's only hitting .218, but he does have 5 hits in his last 11 at-bats. 1 out and 1 on. Ball 1. Steve Zabriskie and Joe Morgan with you at the Big A in Anaheim. We are in the bottom half of the third inning with Seattle leading California 3-0. The Griffeys with back-to-back homers. Senior with a 2-run shot. Junior with a following solo home run in the first. Just foul. Rick Reed throwing those hands up immediately. And we hope you enjoyed game 1 of our Friday night doubleheader as Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer brought you the Dodgers and the Reds from Joe Morgan's old stomping ground at one time, Riverfront. The Dodgers picking up a game on Cincinnati. A breaking ball in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Devon White.
Actually, that was always my favorite time to be at the ballpark, when the Dodgers were there.
Yeah, that rivalry's been going for a while. As for the Dodgers, that's probably the second rivalry behind the Giants. Off the glove of Matt Young, and it's going to be an infield base hit, I would assume, for Devon White.
Well, Harold Reynolds was asking for interference, but there's no interference once the ball has been touched. It's a weak ground ball. He should have been able to handle it, but it's off of his glove. Now watch as Bobby Rose runs into Harold Reynolds right there. Reynolds is claiming interference, but once the ball has been touched, you're free game.
That's right. And that ball being touched changed the direction of it to where Reynolds would not have had a normal play on the ball anyway. So it's an infield base hit for White. Back-to-back singles with 1 out here in the 3rd. And the top of the order, and Dick Schofield, who had an infield base hit in the 1st inning. Schofield shortened up but did not attempt to bunt. Ball 1.
I think Schofield just wanted to make sure Martinez knew that he knew where he was playing, and that was too deep, so he brought him in. Now Martinez sneaks back.
On the inside corner, 1-1. We told you earlier that the Angels have all right-handed hitters in the lineup. That includes Johnny Ray and Devon White, who are switch hitters. And there you see Martinez, who now backs up.
And then he'll rush back in there once the pitch passes the plate.
Hit the other way, though, and it's off O'Brien at first. Here comes Bobby Rose. He will score. Devon White to 3rd. It's 3-1. Seattle leading.
The ball was hit hard, but I think O'Brien misjudged it because he dove a little late. He got to the ball, but if he would have made his dive a little sooner, I think he could have caught it. See, right there, to see the ball actually is under him. He should have been able to smother that ball. He may not have been able to get anyone at first base, but he would have kept the runner from scoring.
Rose, however, did score from 2nd, and White went from 1st to 3rd. And now the Angels have runners at 1st and 3rd, still only 1 out, and Johnny Ray, the hitter, as he fouls one back for strike 1. Ray struck out in the 1st.
This is a situation where Matt Young needs to turn the ball over with his sinker, try to get a ground ball to get out of the inning.
Blocked, and that'll allow the runner at 1st, Schofield, to go to 2nd. And will more than likely be scored as a wild pitch.
Instead of the sinker, he comes back with a slider down and in, and Bradley tries to block it, actually gets us in front of it, but his glove, when it hit his glove, it carried him off to the right side.
So now runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. 1-1 to Ray. A strike at the knees makes it 1-2.
They're going to play the infield back and concede a run if it's hit on the ground to one of the infielders. The wild pitch took the Angels out of a double play situation, so now all Johnny Ray has to do is put the ball in play on the infield, and he'll get a run home.
And he does. A high chopper to Reynolds at 2nd. Ray will be retired, but Devon White scores from 3rd, and it's a 1-run ball game. On the play, Schofield moves from 2nd to 3rd.
A lot of little things happen in a ball game that may not show up in the box score, or you may not notice when the final tally comes in. And an example of that was Devon White being able to go all the way to 3rd on the single off the glove of Pete O'Brien, which automatically put him in the scoring position for a ground ball or a fly ball.
There's Brian Downing, who also struck out on the first. He takes the ball. And, you know, the teams that win are the teams that consistently move those guys around and they'll do those little things that put them in a position to score that extra run. Or score a run even without the benefit of a base hit sometimes.
Well, that's one of the things that you usually see more from a veteran team than you do from a young team. Young players are just hustling and playing the game, whereas veterans use their guile a little bit to steal a base here, take an extra base there.
And that hit Brian Downing, and also got home plate umpire Darrell Cousins apparently a little more seriously than it did Downing. Matt Young really has had some control problems. Not only has he walked 90 guys, the wild pitch earlier was a record for the Mariners, 13 in a season.
And the ball got Darrell Cousins on the side of the neck, on his left side. The ball just barely grazes Brian Downing, but it got the umpire very solidly on the left side of his neck.
Right where he does not have protection. Winfield grounded to second his first time up. Up here with runners at first and third and 2 out. Well hit to left. This ball is out of here. Winfield's first hit in 20 at-bats against the Mariners is a 3-run home run, and the Angels take the lead.
It's a fastball about belt high over the outside part of the plate where Winfield likes the ball, and he really hit it hard. It's way out of here. Winfield likes the ball away from him so he can extend his arms and he can really drive the ball hard.
Lance Parrish, the hitter, he fouls it off. Last night, the Angels came up with 7 runs in the 7th inning. And here in the 3rd, they have scored 5, and it is 5-3 California.
Steve, if you look at this ball game, Matt Young retired the first 7 hitters. That's Winfield's 1,501st career RBI. And he retired the first 7 hitters. As soon as he got someone on base and had to pitch from the stretch, that's when his problems started. So obviously he had more trouble from the stretch than he did from the windup. And there are a lot of pitchers like that. Now here he goes back to the windup and he strikes a guy out.
And that is his 5th strikeout. But 5 runs in the 3rd for California.
Are you ready to ask your doctor about Viagra?
I'm ready. Ready as anybody can be. I'm ready. Ready as anybody can be. Yeah.
Get ready.
All right.
Ask your doctor if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
Well, I'm ready for you. I hope you're ready for me.
I've always loved working on computers, and in the Army, that's what I do. I set up networks, I troubleshoot, I basically do things I would have never dreamed I'd been able to do before.
If you never thought about the U.S. Army or Army Reserve, think about this. There are 212 ways for you to become a soldier and work at a job you'll love. Call for this free video to find out which job is right for you.
I'd never really thought of the Army as a choice.
Your free video will also give you an idea of what Army life is like, how you can earn money for college, even what questions to ask your recruiter.
I'm going to walk away with a lot of memories, a lot of friends, and something that's going to change me for the rest of my life.
Call 1-800-959-ARMY for your free video and discover the 212 ways you can be an Army of One.
If you would ask me a year ago if I'd be here doing this, I could have never imagined it. I love what I do. I love doing it for the Army.
It begins here for the MLB Authentic Collection. We are jackets, jerseys,
and like me, caps. And we lead lives. For some, it's the big leagues and the prestige of television exposure. For others, the splendors of college. But we are all crafted to the same high standard, yes, sir. And the comfort of co-eds and cold beverages will suit me just fine. To each its own greatness. MLB Authentic Collection.
Now we're in the top of the fifth, and the Angels still lead the Mariners 5-3, right here on ESPN Classic.
Tonight, Sherman and Mr. Peabody set the Wayback Machine for 1969, the year when astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first men to walk on the moon. Also in 1969, over 400,000 fans attended Woodstock, the three-day music festival celebrating the hippie counterculture. And in 1969, Ken Griffey became the proud father of his newborn son, Ken Jr. Ah, yes, our trip back in time. And guess who's hitting? Ken Griffey, who has homered and flied to center. And he fouls it back, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, I was thinking about this on the way to the ballpark. Ken Griffey was a teammate of mine in Cincinnati. Pete Rose was his teammate. And Hal McRae. All three of their sons used to come into the clubhouse.
And here they are. A rocket speared by Rick Shue as Griffey ripped one, but is retired for the first out of the 5th inning.
Well, they used to come in the clubhouse and they'd play baseball in the middle of the clubhouse with a real baseball. And they had us ducking all the time. Finally, Sparky Anderson said, no more kids in the clubhouse, which didn't sit well with all the players, but he put them all, he kicked them out of the clubhouse. And now all three, well, 2 of them are in the major leagues and the other one is hopeful. And I think the thing that I remember about all 3 of these guys is they're just like their fathers.
And that's not half bad.
No, Ken Griffey is just natural ability, tons of natural ability. Pete Rose was a guy that worked very, very hard to achieve what he achieved in his career. Hal McRae was a guy that was real smart. He knew how to play, and their sons are just like them. Ken Griffey Jr. is the natural. Pete Rose Jr. works very, very hard at his craft, and Brian McRae understands the game very well. So they're just like father, just like son.
There's something about that saying of cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
Slapped on the ground to short by Junior. And he is retired for out number 2. Well, the Griffeys are a long way from having played the most games in the big leagues, but the way Ken Griffey Jr. has started his career, they may pass Gus and Buddy Bell.
I would think so.
Of course, there's Bob and Ray Boone and Dale and Yogi Berra and Kennedy's. TK still catching for the Giants. And, of course, Schofield. We've already talked about Ducky and Dick. 2 out, nobody on for Alvin Davis.
Bob Boone has a son who may make it to the major leagues as well.
Hey, you're right.
So he
could
may
be grandfather, father, and son.
Yeah.
Well, then we'd have to start a new statistic. The breaking ball missed. 1-1. Alvin has grounded out and struck out. Two and 1. Jim Lefevre having the pleasure, and I would say it is a pleasure, of now managing the Griffey combination. On the ground to second. Johnny Ray gets Alvin Davis. And the Mariners go in order here in the 5th inning. California still leads it 5-3.
Grandmom couldn't come with us.
Chronic bronchitis or emphysema associated with COPD can keep you from doing simple things.
Sometimes she can't breathe right.
But taking Ceravent helps me take fuller breaths.
Nothing can reverse COPD, but taking Ceravent twice a day can help improve your lung function around the clock. One call is all it takes to find out more about managing your COPD. Call 1-800-613-8526 right now to get 10 tips for taking fuller breaths and a $10 rebate. Ceravent should not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms or be taken more than twice a day. Some people may experience increased blood pressure, heart rate, or changes in heart rhythm. Ceravent is prescription medicine and may not be right for everyone. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure, or take MAOIs or tricyclic antidepressants. Ask your doctor if Ceravent is right for you and start taking fuller breaths. Call now for your free tips and rebate offer.
It's Len Bias 8, Villanova 8.
He was a legend before his time.
What a play by Bias!
But tragedy ended it all.
Leonard Bias died of cocaine intoxication.
Flashback to his incredible career and the legacy he left behind.
His tragedy marked a turning point in this culture's point of view on drugs.
A very special SportsCenter flashback, Remembering Len Bias. Tuesday at 7 Eastern, only on ESPN Classic.
Stan Verrett here in the ESPN Classic studios. In 1989, Ken Griffey Sr. was playing for the Cincinnati Reds. Meanwhile, Ken Griffey Jr. was making his Major League debut with the Mariners. It was the first time in Major League history a father and son were both on an active roster at the same time. With more, here's Chris Myers in this vintage SportsCenter report from April 4th, 1989.
For Ken Griffey, it must have seemed like Back to the Future. In Cincinnati, the 39-year-old outfielder's career stretched into its senior years. Opening night in Oakland also opened up the big league career of Ken Griffey Jr. At 19 years old, he started in center field for the Seattle Mariners. His father is still playing with the Reds. It's the first time in baseball history that both a father and a son are on a Major League active roster at the same time.
It said a lot for him to be here at 19 years old, but it says even more for his father to last this long and to be the quality player that he's been for so many years.
Dave Parker has the distinction of having played against both Griffeys. He saw a striking similarity between the two after watching Junior's first game. Ken Griffey, the unancient Mariner, was trying to keep his feet on the ground at his first big league at bat. Thoughts of his father danced in his head, though, when he ripped a Dave Stewart pitch for a double.
I was more nervous than anything. You know, I was hoping that I wouldn't trip and fall and embarrass myself. You know, all the stuff that I have to do, you know. So I didn't really think of him until after I got my first hit. And when I got the hit, I said, so this is what it's like.
Very proud of him. He went out there in spring training and did a job that I knew he could do, but, you know, at the time it was, I think he was 19, that they may think about sending him back anyway.
Griffey Jr. set Mariner records in spring training for hits and hitting streaks. A first-round draft choice in 1987, he spent just 2 seasons in the minors before hitting the big time.
It was a big jump, but, you know, going into spring training, you know, I had talked to my dad, my lawyer, and said, you know, we're going to give him a shot. And we're going to see how he does with big league pitching.
I think he's legitimately a major leaguer now, and all of America got, you know, years of Ken Griffey Jr. to be heard from.
Okay, well, let me go get this out of the way.
He's learned how to handle the attention as well as the pitching. But this is only the beginning. His dad was a 29th round draft choice, and he's lasted 17 seasons.
Hopefully he stays around a couple more years, and hopefully I'm right here in a few more years.
Griffey Jr. wears number 24. He says it's not because of Willie Mays, just coincidence. And the ball player he idolizes most, you guessed it, his dad. And if he puts up career numbers anything like his old man, the Griffey sequel will have a happy ending.
Back then, trying to keep up with the Joneses was one thing. Keeping up with the Griffeys was a whole new ballgame. Now back to the father-son duo from 1990 as they team up against the California Angels as our Father's Day Marathon continues here on ESPN Classic.
7th inning baseball here at the Big A. Steve Zabriskie and Joe Morgan with you on Game 2 of our ESPN Friday night doubleheader on Baseball Tonight. Kurt McCaskill leading 5-3. The beneficiary of a 5-run third inning by his mates. And Scott Bradley, the Mariners catcher, leads it off in the 7th. Ball 1. Bradley has grounded to second and grounded back to McCaskill. Foul back out of play. 1-1. California's pitching staff is One of the main reasons that the Angels have won 4 games in a row now, and they've all been here at home over the last 4 games coming into tonight. The Angels staff has an ERA of 1.5. They have had 2 complete games and 1 shutout.
1.5 will win you a few ball games.
Yeah. Don't have to score much.
Nope.
That's high. 2-1. McCaskill touched for back-to-back home runs by the Griffeys in the first, but he has closed the door since then. 2-2. In fact, since the second inning, when the Mariners had 2 hits, he is retired 12 of 13. On the ground to second, Johnny Ray to Rick Shue. 1 away in the 7th. Let's get an update from Baseball Tonight and John Saunders.
The Giants had a chance to get to 5.5 behind the Reds tonight, but the Astros take care of them, including Carl Rhodes here, who robbed Mike Kingery. He also had 2 doubles, scored both runs, 2-1 the final. Mark Portugal 6-1 lifetime against the Giants. Back to Stephen Day.
You know, it's too bad that Carl didn't dive in the dirt. We could have called him Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, wait a minute.
Heck of a play, though. He's been an impressive rookie.
Yes, he has.
1 out, nobody on for Omar Vizquel, who's had 2 base hits. 1 was a bunt single, and he thought about maybe laying 1 down again. Ball 2. And the Angels again have activity in their bullpen, and it's the same guy who's been up all night long, left-hander Bob McClure.
Well, they got him up the first time because the Griffeys were hot. McCaskill has cooled them down.
Here, however, he loses Vizquel. A 1-out walk. The 3rd walk he has issued. And we'll go to the top of the order. And here's the top of the National League Eastern Division. Pittsburgh and New York each losing tonight, so the games remain as they were. 1.5. Montreal picks up a game to 7.5, and they're not mathematically eliminated yet.
All right, I'll put you on the spot. Who do you think in the East?
I think when it's all said and done, and this has nothing to do with my history, I think the Mets are going to win it.
And it has nothing to do with your history?
No, it does not.
Okay. Well, since neither have anything to do with my history, I'm picking Pittsburgh.
All right.
Well, my reasoning there is that I think the Mets defensively, you know, have a few problems.
Yes, they do.
And I think Pittsburgh is a team that's young and they're hungry and they're playing the game. They have a little more speed, etc. So I think I'm picking Pittsburgh, and they've withstood the Met challenge.
This is true. Points well taken. I still reserve my right to disagree.
I agree with you there.
We'll be right back.
Hey, there's big news at 7-Eleven. It's the new Big Bite Combo. Delicious Big Bite hot dog made by Oscar Mayer. With free chili and cheese. Whatever you want. Ice cold gulp. And a big grab of chips. All for just $1.99. It's a bigger, better summer.
There's a time for diplomacy and a time for action. Diplomacy is dead.
On July 6th, Kiss. Fear. Goodbye. Jet Li. Bridget Fonda. Kiss of the Dragon. Rated R. July 6th. Only in theaters.
Hey, Ray, can you believe that they got Marcus Camby to do the commercial with the ESPN the magazine and not me and you?
I don't know, Chris, but, you know, Marcus was pretty good. So we've been perfect for this part.
I know, especially we both subscribers to ESPN the magazine, and we both got the free fleece jacket.
Call now for ESPN the magazine. Just $1 an issue, and the fleece pullover is free.
You know, Chris, we need to work on this paddle yo-yo thing. I think that's what ESPN the magazine wants.
Yeah, you're probably right, Ray.
Call now.
Discover the amazing training secrets of America's finest baseball school in an exciting instructional video. Baseball World's Defensive Drills video features professional scout and instructor Tommy Mansky and the same techniques that produced his back-to-back-to-back AAU national championship teams. Collegiate Baseball Magazine's editor calls it a masterpiece, the best drill video ever produced. This video is endorsed by top professionals like superstar Fred McGriff.
This is the instructional video that gets results.
The Defensive Drills video benefits players of all ages and ability levels and makes a great gift, too, so call now.
He's a coach.
This time I want to see 3 things.
A teacher. A friend.
Yeah, what, are we trying to make this kid's life impossible?
He's the White Shadow. The classic series now only on ESPN Classic.
What I hear, you guys need a basketball coach real bad.
This old school pro turned coach shows these inner city high school kids what life's really about. Nobody said it'd be easy, but Ken Howard is
like a white shadow.
The White Shadow, weekdays at 10, only on ESPN Classic.
Kurt McCaskill will take a seat after throwing 106 pitches and leaving with a 2-run lead. A situation where he cannot lose the game. He can only win it if he figures in the decision. And Bob McClure, who has not pitched much, is on in relief. He almost pitched more tonight in the bullpen than he has on the mound so far this year.
And there's his numbers. 3 hits. Great strikeout to base on balls ratio. Good strikeout to base on balls is 2-to-1. He has a 4-to-1 ratio in that short period of time.
And he will face the top of the order in Harold Reynolds with Omar Vizquel at first, having walked with 1 out. Reynolds has walked, singled, and grounded out. He's 1 for 2 and just scored a run. Ball 1. Reynolds represents the tying run with 1 out here in the 7th.
And that's what you'll see from Bob McClure. He's a breaking ball pitcher. Has a pretty good curve, and he'll run the fastball away from the right-handed hitters.
Reynolds a switch hitter, now batting right-handed. And I'll tell you what, there's a balk move right there.
Well, I was going to agree with you, because I almost called a balk on the air.
Bob, I think he just did balk and got away with it.
Well, he made a movement toward the plate. And then he went to first base. See that step there? That's not stepping toward where you want to throw. His momentum was going toward the plate.
A looping base hit into center field by Harold Reynolds. Vizquel will go on as the ball gets by Devon White. Vizquel will score. Reynolds to third. It's a 1-run ball game. And the error on Devon White has put the tying run at third.
Well, Devon White can be so good at times, and other times he can be very bad. He has such great speed, and he works very hard at his craft, but this one he lets get away from him. You can see he was trying to get in front of it, but he might have taken his eyes off the ball to look up and see if the runner was going to try to go to third or not.
That's the second California error of the night. Harold Reynolds at third for Ken Griffey, who has homered, flied to center, and grounded to first. The infield in for the Angels. And a breaking ball for a strike.
That was a pretty good sidearm curveball there, and they had good speed on it.
And Kenny does not ordinarily play, at least start games, against left-handed pitching.
But he can handle the left-handers. He played a lot during his career against left-handers and still had a 300 lifetime average.
He may not have seen much left-handed pitching lately, however. 1 ball, 1 strike. He may not see a fastball either.
I would think that you're probably correct unless they throw the fastball in tight. The left-hander will try to throw the breaking ball away from him and then come back in tight with the fastball.
And strike 1 and 2. Reynolds at third in a one-run ball game. Low and away, 2-2.
I think if Griffey wasn't going so well or hitting so well after he came over to the Mariners, you may see a guy like Jeffrey Leonard in this situation. But because he's been swinging the bat well, I'm going to keep Jeffrey on the bench. And we will see another curveball here.
Griffey punches it to left field for a base hit and drives in the tying run. Reynolds scores to make it 5-5.
I think Griffey's a smart hitter. Like I say, you don't get a lifetime average of 300 playing regularly if you can't handle the left-handers, if you're not smart enough to deal with it. He would just made up his mind he was going to make contact and go the other way with it. It wasn't pretty, but he flips it to left field, and that's what you want to do. Watch him. He is going to left field all the way with this. You can see him just kind of punch it over there, and it turns into a base hit.
So now Junior, who takes inside, has also homered in 3 at-bats.
So that's the pitch that he should have thrown Griffey at 1 and 2 to keep him honest inside and then go back to your breaking balls. But he threw him so many breaking balls, Griffey finally timed one.
That one a little bit high. 2-0. Ken Griffey has driven in 3 runs tonight. Ken Griffey Jr. has driven in 1. So the Griffeys have accounted for 4 of the 5 runs the Mariners have scored.
And he's made up his mind that the Griffeys are fastball hitters. He's going to throw them all breaking balls. Because he threw a 2-0 breaking ball there. Now he's behind 3-0. But he also has Alvin Davis, another left-hander, coming up. So Lefevre may let him hit 3-0, but still a young guy, and he may not want to do that.
It looked like he might have been looking for something in a particular zone, but
which is the way to hit. There's Alvin Davis. He's on deck. He's another left-handed hitter. So McClure knows that if he doesn't get Ken Griffey Jr. out, he still has a shot at Alvin Davis.
Still only 1 out. And there is strike 3 call. Oh, strike 2. I'm sorry. 3-2.
There's a good fastball over the outside corner by McClure. It's a tough pitch for the hitter now because he doesn't know if he's going to come with the breaking ball or the fastball. You have to just look for the ball.
And he chases one for strike 3.
Came back with a good curveball. Well, he's 3-2. He throws a curveball, and you can see it breaks out of the strike zone again. That's the one that you strike the guys out the most with. That ball would have stayed in the strike zone, he probably would have been able to make contact.
So Alvin Davis, who is 0 for 3 and has struck out once, will bat with 2 out. Ken Griffey still at first. Strike 1. The Mariners have scored twice here in the 7th inning, helped out by a 2-base error in center field by Harold Reynolds, by Devon White.
Well, Harold was running.
Yes.
For a left-hander who faces a guy like McClure, the first thing you have to say is, I'm not going to try to pull the ball. I'm going to go right back up the middle with it. Now, if I happen to pull it, that's okay. At least you're keeping your front shoulder in. You have to keep your front shoulder in order to hit that breaking ball. The biggest problem left-handed hitters have against left-handed pitchers is their front shoulder flies out because they're trying to pull the ball.
And then people ask, Joe, well, then why don't right-handed hitters have the same problems against right-handed pitchers?
Well, because they faced them a lot more, especially growing up. You don't have a lot of left-handed pitchers as kids in Little League or, Babe Ruth leagues, etc. Most of your pitchers are right-handed, so your right-handed hitters get a chance to face and learn to hit the curveball and learn to stay in there. Your left-handed hitters as little leaguers, etc., do not face that many left-handed pitchers because most left-handed pitchers are wild at that age.
Fouled off as Davis stays alive, just hitting it off the end of the bat, and it's 2-2.
But I think if you look at some of the statistics of some of your better hitters over the years, your George Bretts or some of your Wade Boggs, he's struggling a little bit this year against left-handers. But your Ted Williams, guys like that, they were a Billy Williams. These guys always handle left-handers better than they did right-handers because it kept them in there a little longer. They had to concentrate a little harder, and that's the reason that they were successful.
McClure wanting a different baseball. 2-2 to Alvin Davis with 2 out and Ken Griffey at first. It's a 5-5 tie in the 7th. And that's going to be foul and out of play down the left field line.
I've actually always felt that left-handers were easier to hit if you were a left-handed hitter and could keep your shoulder in there, as we take a look at Griffey going back, because you take away one of their best pitches, and that's the sinker down and in, because most left-handed hitters hit the sinker down in very well. So you take that pitch away from them, so then they have to go with a pitch, the breaking ball away, and if you know that, you should be able to handle it.
Too far away, and it's a full count with 2 out, and so the first baseman, Rick Shue,
should play behind him, and all of a sudden he's holding him up.
Yeah. And Griffey should be off with a pitch. Griffey said, hey, you're supposed to be back there. What's going on? Griffey running, and strike 3 called, and Alvin Davis knew it. Bob McClure gives up a couple of runs, but strikes out the last 2 hitters of the inning. It's now tied at 5.
Clues, you get to rebuild it any way you like. Rated T for teens.
How would you like to earn CD rates without tying up your money? Simple. With the Orange Savings Account from ING Direct, everyone earns the same high 5% rate. With no minimum balance requirement and no fees. And unlike CDs, you can always get at your money. Still think there's a catch? There isn't one. You just didn't have a choice before. Call 1-800-ING Direct for great rates with no minimums and no fees. 1-800-ING Direct.
Beauty, adventure, drama. All these and more can be yours in the wonderful world of art. And with this free art test from Art Instruction Schools, you can find out if you have the interest and desire needed to become a serious art student. To get your free art test without cost or obligation, call this toll-free number. Don't delay. Call this toll-free number now. Call 1-800-754-0077.
It begins here for the MLB Authentic Collection. We are jackets, jerseys, and like me, caps. And we lead lives. For some, it's the big leagues and the prestige of television exposure. For others, the splendors of college. But we are all crafted to the same high standard, yes, sir. And the comfort of co-eds and cold beverages will suit me just fine. To each its own greatness. MLB Authentic Collection.
Welcome back to Anaheim, where we now have a new ball game. We're tied at 5 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Johnny Ray leads it off for the Angels. And the count 2 balls and no strikes. Ray tonight is 0 for 3, but he did drive in a run, grounding out in the 3rd inning. On the outside corner, 2-1. Matt Young has gotten a reprieve with the 2 runs in the 7th.
Maybe he deserved one because he's actually pitched pretty well other than the 3rd inning. He gave up the 5 runs. So maybe he deserved a second shot here at getting a win.
Well, he struck out 7 and walked 2. Grounded to 3rd, foul ball. Edgar Martinez went through with it anyway. A reminder, our final Sunday night game of the season at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Joe will be there along with John Miller when Baltimore meets Toronto at the Sky Dome. And the final 2 Sundays of the season will be Sunday afternoon games here on ESPN. Not the final Sunday of baseball on ESPN, but the final Sunday night game. Baltimore at Toronto. And that Eastern Division of the American League tightening up a little bit. A drive into right center field by Ray that's going to go for a base hit. Buhner cuts it off, and Ray goes into second, safe.
Buhner has a strong arm as you get a look at Jim Lefevre, but he was not able to get the ball back in from Johnny Ray. Johnny Ray runs well. He had his mind made up as soon as the ball was hit that he was going to go to second base. You see the strong throw back in by Buhner. Short hops Vizquel, but other than that, it was a strong throw.
So a leadoff double for the Angels. And the bullpen phone gets busy. That's Mike Paul, the pitching coach of the Mariners, who just hung up.
This is where you see a veteran team, in my opinion, come into place here. You watched Johnny Ray hustle that into a double from the time that he hit it. You watch Brian Downing here, and he's going to have to take a shot toward right field to move Johnny Ray along or drive him in. Downing hits the ball the other way well, so he can get a base hit to right field and not have to give himself up.
He set up that time to hit the pitch the other way, but took it because it was in too difficult a location for him to do so. So it's strike one. Down low, 1-1. Brian tonight is 1 for 2. Plus he was hit by a pitch, and he scored a run. Hit the other way on the ground to second. Harold Reynolds goes over to O'Brien, and on the play, of course, Johnny Ray moves to third with 1 out. Let's get an update again from John Saunders.
The Oakland A's had a 10-game lead to start the night. Here's one of the reasons why. Mark McGwire blasts this one to center field. Shane Mack can't come up with the ball. Take a look at Willie McGee, followed by Jose Canseco. But wait, Jose go back. McGee is in there easily. Canseco would score later on a Steinbach base hit. 6-1 in the 7th, Steve and Joe.
Thanks, John. You know, Willie could run like the wind. But with Jose Canseco coming up your back, he might have even been running faster than normal.
It's here, waiting for you. Inside is unlimited strength and power. It builds confidence and reshapes your body. It can change everything. This is Bowflex, an entire gym in one easy-to-use machine. So powerful, it delivers over 60 Health Club quality exercises with up to 410 pounds of resistance, all in the convenience of your own home. Strength training with Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you'll get the results you want in 6 weeks or less. And you can own one with no money down and payments as low as $33 per month. Bowflex is real. The results are real. The question is, are you ready for Bowflex? For a free video and brochure, call or go online at BowflexDirect.com. Do the research, listen to real customers, then place your order online and get started. Bowflex. Who said change isn't easy?
Tonight, ESPN Classic is going back in time, 60 years. Joe Louis was the unbeatable champ. Billy Conn was the underdog challenger. When they met, boxing history was made.
You never expected Joe Louis to lose.
But Louis was about to meet one of his toughest opponents.
Here was this skinny little kid fighting the invincible man.
Find out why boxing fans consider this fight one of the greatest. The 60th anniversary of Louis versus Conn. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific. Only on ESPN Classic.
He may have decided that they're going to try to pitch around Winfield, so to speak, and set up the double play with Parrish coming up next. Parrish obviously is a strikeout guy for him or a double play guy. So we'll see how they attack Winfield.
Matt Young has actually thrown 120 pitches to this point. And a slew of right-handed hitters coming up for the Angels.
Unlike the Angels, the Mariners are only playing the infield halfway in. When the I don't know where I get Rawls from. When the Angels were confronted with this situation, they played the infield all the way in. By playing it halfway, you get a little more range from your infielders, but it's also a tougher play to throw the guy out the plate if he goes on contact.
Winfield with a big cut, and it's 1-1.
Well, I think what you see here is he's going to throw him a lot of high fastballs. If he wants to swing at it, go ahead. And then maybe if he gets 2 strikes, he may try the slider down and in. But I think he's going to see how badly Winfield wants to get that run in from third base.
Yes, only 1 out.
Yeah, he wants to see if he wants a ribby, let's see him get it.
And he may get it.
Yes.
And then some.
And I think I was right. He was trying to throw him another high fastball in, and he didn't get it high enough, and he didn't get it in far enough.
Winfield's second home run of the night, and he has driven in 5 runs. California back out in front 7-5, and that will be all for Matt Young. And as is often the case, 1 hitter too late. Winfield's 23rd career home run against the Mariners.
Home Depot is driving down the cost of home improvement. The difference between men and boys, where you get their toys. The Home Depot is full of toys Dad will love for Father's Day. Like this Ryobi cordless drill kit for $39.97. This Char-Broil Quickset grill for just $139. This rigid wet-dry vac with detachable blower for just $99. Or let Dad choose with a Home Depot gift card. Father's Day is Sunday, and you'll find the perfect gift at the Home Depot.
Try this. Call up your auto insurance company and ask them to give you a quote.
And then ask them to give you the prices of their 3 major competitors also.
See what they say.
Progressive wants you to know that 6-month rates can really vary from company to company.
On average, you could be paying $522 more than you have to.
If you're not shopping around, you can be losing a lot of money.
Call Progressive at 1-800-AUTO-PRO or visit us online at progressive.com.
We'll give you our price, and if you'd like, the rates from up to 3 other leading companies.
Even if their prices are lower than ours.
I didn't believe it either, but it's true. I can go online 24 hours a day and compare rates.
We have these things called IRVs, immediate response vehicles.
It's like a mini claims office right there in the car.
So call us right now at 1-800-AUTO-PRO.
If we can't save you money on auto insurance, we'll tell you who can.
Shop and buy at Progressive.com or call 1-800-AUTO-PRO.
I've always loved working on computers, and in the Army, that's what I do.
If you never thought about the U.S. Army or Army Reserve, think about this. There are 212 ways for you to become a soldier and work at a job you'll love. Call 1-800-959-ARMY for this free video to find out which job is right for you and discover the 212 ways you can be an Army of One.
I love what I do.
Ellerby trying to clear. Didn't get it up. Sakic held it in. Still held in. Uwe Krupp shot.
Well, I said he was going to try to get Dave Winfield out with a high fastball out of the strike zone. And this is supposed to be a high fastball, but he doesn't get it high enough. And Dave Winfield just jumps all over it. And when Dave Winfield hits it like this, he knows where it's going immediately. And he wants to see how fast it's going to get there. You know, you can blame Matt Young for not getting the ball high enough, but you also have to look at the manager in that situation. A guy had thrown 120 pitches. And I can understand if it's Randy Johnson out there, a young player, you want him to learn to pitch out of jams. But Matt Young's not going to be the guy that you're counting on for the next 5 or 6 years. And he had thrown a lot of pitches, and you had a guy warmed up in the bullpen, a right-hander.
Yep, it's hard to understand why when Jim Lefevre went out the first time, he didn't make the change. Lance Parrish with a drive down the right field line, but Jay Buhner's over there, and that's out number 2.
And I'm sure Jim Lefebvre has his own reasons that we may not know about. But just looking at it from a perspective of the guy's thrown 120 pitches, and here's a situation: you need a strikeout, you got a right-hander up in Dave Winfield, and you have a right-hander in the bullpen.
Luis Bologna is going to be the pinch hitter for Dante Bichette with 2 out here in the 7th inning. And Bill Swift is the new pitcher for Seattle. Bologna hitting .329, 2 homers and 31 RBIs. And Bologna has an outside chance to set a new single-season batting average record for the California Angels.
That really surprises me because Rod Carew played here, a number of years, but he won his batting titles in Minnesota, of course.
Carew may hold it. I think it's .332 or .331. It's in the low 330s, I think.
And for Rod Carew hitting the low 330s, that's an off year.
Oh, yeah.
He could really hit.
What hands. We mentioned how Dave Winfield had no hits against Seattle this year.
He heard you.
In 19 at-bats. Bologna with a ground ball. It's cut off by Reynolds. Well, tonight, Dave got his first 2 hits. 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. 2 runs in the 7th on that second home run. A 2-run lead.
Most men get pretty shook up about losing their hair. But today, many of them are learning about Bosley Medical. They use your own living hair to fill in the thin spots. Just look at that. It really works. You can treat it like real hair because it is real hair. Your own naturally growing hair. So you don't have to worry about it.
Bosley Medical is the world's most experienced hair restoration practice. For over 25 years, they have performed more than 130,000 procedures using the innovative micrografting techniques pioneered by founder Dr. L. Lee Bosley.
Each surgeon at Bosley Medical is board certified and individually trained by me.
So if you want to have your own naturally growing hair back, call this number for more information. We'll send you this free video and in-depth guidebook that gives you the real facts about hair restoration. There's no cost and absolutely no obligation. So do it for yourself. Call now and get the real results you've been looking for.
It's your real hair.
You can't do better than real.
I'm not a role model.
He was basketball's bad boy.
He's a guy that's going to say what's on his mind.
But was the only thing bigger than his game his mouth?
Oh, I'm their worst nightmare. A brother who won't be quiet.
Now, the real story.
He's spitting at people.
Behind the trash-talking MVP.
I thought they were racist to me in Philadelphia.
Who refused to play by the rules.
He wasn't a saint. He was just Charles.
Charles Barkley. Sports Century, the top 50 and beyond. Tomorrow at 8. Only on ESPN Classic.
Tonight, ESPN Classic is going back in time to celebrate Father's Day with history's most legendary father-son baseball stars. Tonight at 8, only on ESPN Classic.
It's a beautiful night in Southern California, and the Angels fans are happy because they have retaken the lead 7-5 as we go to the 8th inning, and Pete O'Brien leads it off. O'Brien tonight has walked and grounded out twice. He's 0 for 2. Bob McClure working his 2nd inning in relief of Kurt McCaskill. His strike. And McClure now the pitcher of record on the winning side. Luis Bologna remaining in the game in left field as he pinch hit for the starting left fielder Dante Bichette. Lofted down the left field line. Bologna has a long way to come, but it is Schofield who makes the play. Good play by Dickey on the way.
He did go a long way for that ball, but it was high enough that he had time to get there. But you see here, he keeps his eyes on it all the way. And a two-handed catch, something that I like.
Yeah, and you don't see enough of. Been a tough night for Jay Buhner. He has struck out 3 times. Those at-bats, however, were all against McCaskill. So he is facing McClure for the first time, and
glad that McCaskill is gone.
Glad to see a left-hander on top of that, probably. Ball 1. Buhner came into the game hitting .311 over his last 15.
But the guy behind the plate hasn't forgotten. He's still calling curveballs and changeups.
You can't forget that there's a 2-man show out there. The catcher's the same. 1-1.
Here comes the changeup.
Way outside, 2-1. And 2-2.
I think Jay Bruner better realize that he's going to be here tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah.
He better get ready for these breaking balls and changeups.
You better go down and take some extra hit and get some curveball pressure. He waited and waited and just nubbed it back to McClure. And he's out for out number 2.
When pliers won't grip, ratchets won't click, and wrenches won't fit, you just have to quit. No way! Introducing the Squeeze Wrench. It works in virtually any space and fits any place. Look, in this tight space, an ordinary wrench can't turn. But with the Squeeze Wrench, you can easily tighten with no trouble at all. A simple squeeze of the handle accelerates the Squeeze Wrench to tighten or loosen standard and metric nuts and bolts. Now easily tighten a ceiling fan blade, repair a barbecue grill, or install a light fixture where no other tool has gone before. If you can squeeze toothpaste, you can operate the Squeeze Wrench. You can even reach a bolt behind the oven without moving it. The secret is internal ratchet action that allows you to get power in impossible places, like behind a door handle or in between a crib. Watch, this handheld driver gives you limited power, but the Squeeze Wrench is over 3 times more powerful on the same bolt. Now adjust a rusty lawnmower, install a garage door opener, or tackle any tough automotive job. Hey, stop busting your knuckles with a regular screwdriver, because the Squeeze Wrench comes with these screwdriver attachments. Now any hidden screw is easy to get to. Why spend hundreds on tools when all you need is the Squeeze Wrench? During this special TV offer, you get the Squeeze Wrench, 5 metric socket inserts, and 4 standard socket inserts, this 1/4-inch bit adapter, and 2 screwdriver bits, all for only $19.95. But it gets better. As a bonus, we'll include this compact carry case to store your Squeeze Wrench in the kitchen, workshop, or trunk. Yours free. The Squeeze Wrench comes with an incredible lifetime replacement warranty. If it ever breaks, wears, or fails, we'll replace it free for life. No questions asked. So order now.
Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-653-9911 to order your Squeeze Wrench for just $19.95 and receive the bonus carry case free. Or send check or money order to this address. We also accept checks by phone. Call 1-800-653-9911.
Where can you find your favorite Major League players in one place? In packs of 2001 Upper Deck Victory baseball cards. Every box includes 36 12-card packs that feature rookies, perennial fan favorites, and at least one superstar in every pack. It's a must for collectors and baseball fans of all ages. A total of 432 cards for just $34.99 plus $4.95 shipping and handling. Call 1-888-596-3889 and order yours today.
Edgar Martinez, the hitter, on the outside corner for a strike. 1-1. Martinez tonight is 0 for 3. He's grounded into an inning-ending force play, hit a soft liner to short, and was retired on a good play at third by Bobby Rose. Outside, 2-1. Angels leading 7-5 in the top of the 8th inning. Mariners tied it with 2 in the top of the 7th, and the Angels regained their 2-run lead with 2 in the bottom of the inning. Line drive caught by Johnny Ray. A 1-2-3 inning in the 8th for Bob McClure as Seattle goes in order and still trails by
2. My son didn't know how badly in debt I was. He didn't know how close we were to losing everything we loved. But he did see me crying from time to time. Now, despite all the debt I'm in, he only sees me smile because I found a way out.
If you have debt problems, then call Profina Debt Solutions, the nation's largest, most experienced nonprofit credit counseling service. Profina doesn't make loans. Instead, we work with over 50,000 creditors nationwide to lower your monthly payments. If you gather your bills and call one of Profina's credit counselors, within about 20 minutes over the phone, we can help you avoid bankruptcy and get the collection calls to stop.
I'm solving my money problems, and we're both smiling a lot more because of it.
There is help, and it's as close as your phone. Get your bills together and call Profina Debt Solutions. It's not a loan, it's a way out of debt.
Another spectacular effort by Marino, who fires, touchdown!
Jackie Joyner-Kersee out in lane 8, running away from the field.
Kirby Puckett hit the flag, way back, the 10th count of the 7th game. San Marino has now thrown for more yards than anyone else in history. Chased by Puckett, he caught it. Brilliant play by Kirby Puckett.
Our Budweiser storyline tonight is a story of home runs. The Griffeys with back-to-back jobs in the first, and that gave the Mariners the lead. But then a 5-run outburst in the third, keyed by Winfield's 3-run home run. And after the Mariners had tied it in the 7th, Winfield hit a 2-run home run, his first 2 hits of the year against Seattle. And the Angels regained the lead. They lead 7-5 as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Lee Stevens is a pinch hitter for Rick Shue. For the Angels, Stevens hitting .216. 2 balls and no strikes. Shue was 2 for 3 with a single and a double as the starting first baseman. Big cut, foul back, 2-1.
When you talk about a long swing, Stevens has a real long swing. I've seen him hit on several occasions. And he really has a long swing. It means his timing has to be almost perfect.
Grounded to short. Vizquel gets him for out number 1. Well, we showed you the National League Eastern Division pennant chase an inning or 2 ago. Here's what it looks like now in the NL West with the Dodgers beating the Reds tonight. San Francisco lost to stay 6.5 games back. I think one of the big factors that may come into play, Joe, is the Dodgers are 6 games back in the loss column, even though they're 5.5 back.
Yeah, well, you can't make up a loss. You'd rather have it, the half game on the win column side. You can make that up.
Bobby Rose, the hitter, grounds one to second, takes a funny hop for Reynolds, but he stays with it. 2 away. So let us move over to the American League and look at the Eastern Division now. And this is really tightening up. Toronto winning tonight while Boston was being shut out by Chicago. So the Blue Jays, who have gotten it going, are only 3 back. And that'll be where Joe will be with John Miller on Sunday night at 8 for Sunday Night Baseball. The Orioles at the Sky Dome to take on the Blue Jays.
Well, I've seen the Toronto Blue Jays play a lot, but I haven't seen the Sky Dome. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Sky Dome. And, of course, being involved in the American League East pennant race is exciting as well.
That place is magnificent. It's an amazing structure. Of course, a few weeks ago, they opened the roof and they got attacked by bugs. They had to stop the game and close the roof. So,
well, let me ask you a question, though. They stopped the game, closed the roof. Where did the bugs go?
Well, I guess eventually they just got full. Went to sleep. Full tummies. I don't know. I was there for a game shortly thereafter, and they opened the roof, and it was beautiful. And the bugs weren't around. But I'm glad I wasn't there when it was bug night. Remember those games in Houston before the Dome?
Oh, of course.
Colt 45 Stadium, the only place where they sold bug repellent in the concession stand.
Yeah, but those mosquitoes would take the bug repellent and ask for something else.
That's right. We're talking B-52s.
Yeah, they didn't. That repellent didn't
Yes, he went too far, and Devon White strikes out to end the inning. The appeal to third base umpire Joe Brinkman. Bill Swift retires California in order. Still a 2-run Angel lead.
What is the calculation? 89.3 degrees. Excellent.
It seems Germany's got a taste for America. Beck's Late.
Can your radio do this? Only one radio can give you stereo sound this big, yet is small enough to fit almost anywhere. The extraordinary Wave Radio from Bose. Press the remote control and hear big, rich sound that fills the room. Sounds so rich, Popular Science called it a sonic marvel. You hear music the way it was meant to be heard. Clear, full, incredibly lifelike. You've got to hear the Wave Radio to believe it. And now you can. Satisfaction guaranteed. Call toll-free to hear it in your home. Ask about our popular interest-free payment plan. Experience big stereo sound from a radio. Call today.
With our 12-month payment plan, the Wave Radio CD is just $41.58 a month.
It's Len Bias 8, Villanova 8.
He was a legend before his time.
What a play by Bias!
But tragedy ended it all.
Leonard Bias died of cocaine intoxication.
Flashback to his incredible career and the legacy he left behind.
His tragedy marked a turning point in this culture's point of view on drugs.
A very special Sports Center flashback, remembering Len Bias. Tuesday at 7 Eastern, only on ESPN Classic.
Gordy to Black. The time, 18. Shot, Jordan! Michael Jordan!
You're watching ESPN Classic.
7-5 Angels as we go to the 9th inning here at the Big A. And earlier today, it was sort of the wet Big A. Somebody knocked over a fire hydrant, cut it right off about a foot above the ground, and it was right outside the ramp that leads down the tunnel into the stadium. And where does it eventually go? The visitors' bullpen, which was completely flooded. And the Mariners, when they went out to throw earlier, had a little problem out there. But out of the dry bullpen now comes Brian Harvey.
Well, Brian is their save leader. You can see he has 22 there. And he's their stopper. So they're trying to shut it down, 2-run lead. He would get a save in this situation. He has a good breaking ball.
And Lee Stevens, who pinch hit for Rick Shue, remains in the game at first base for California. Having a chat with Rusty Kuntz, the first base coach for the Mariners. Stevens, a rookie. And for the Mariners in the 9th inning, it'll be Scott Bradley, Omar Vizquel, and Harold Reynolds as the 3 scheduled hitters against right-hander Brian Harvey. Bradley has grounded out all 3 times, and he takes low ball 1. Fastball right in there, 1-1. And Scott Bradley should be taking a strike in this situation.
His run doesn't mean a lot. He needs to get the tying run to the plate by getting on base.
Fastball will be fouled out of play behind the Angels dugout. And the opportunity we wait for every single ball game here on ESPN is to remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. In case you were thinking about it, it's always on my mind. 1-2, and see you later.
That's a good split finger from Harvey.
1 out in the 9th.
It's coming right out. A good split finger. It starts up in the strike zone and the bottom falls out.
For the show, number 8,
Greg Briley will be the pinch hitter for Omar Vizquel with 1 out in the 9th. Vizquel had a good night. He was 2 for 2 plus a walk and a run score. Briley looks at ball 1. As a pinch hitter, Greg is 3 for 16 with 1 pinch hit RBI. Out of play, 1-1.
Riley had a couple of real big games during the season where he drove in a lot of runs. But over the season, he has not been as consistent as he would like.
A strike at the knees makes it 1-2. And he chased one in the dirt, fouled off, still 1-2. A reminder that Sports Center comes your way next. Ann Montgomery and Jim Bergamo will be along, bring you up to date on the pennant races, baseball highlights, and stories on Florida State joining the ACC conference, and of course the big college football preview of the upcoming weekend. Sports Center is next. 2-2 to Briley.
I think when you look at the Angels and the fact that they are a veteran team, and talking to Doug Rader, they need a couple of spots to be filled over the winter, and they feel like they can contend.
Briley with a base hit to left field. So he will do his job and bring the tying run to the plate here in the 9th inning with 1 out.
I think for the Angels this year, they felt like going in that they could contend because with the addition of Langston and a couple other people, they felt like they were going to have a very good ball club. But everything didn't gel. You know, they're playing better now. But if you're in the Western Division with the Oakland A's, you better start off good as well and play well all the way through. So I think that's what Doug Rader is pointing towards next year, but he knows he needs a couple of guys to fill a couple of spots.
Harold Reynolds took a strike. He's had a good night tonight. 2 for 3 plus a walk. He scored 2 runs. Yeah, anytime you're in the American League West, score early and often.
Yeah.
and hope that somebody can do something with Oakland. The amazing thing about it is that the White Sox have had a pretty good year against the A's.
Right.
And they're still quite a ways behind them because Oakland just turns it on whenever they get anywhere close. Good breaking ball. And Harold Reynolds is gone. 2 out in the 9th inning.
Well, this is a good split finger from Harvey. It's right on the inside corner. Harold Reynolds goes down on strikes.
Well, that's a case where you just got fooled by a very good pitch. So Ken Griffey comes to the plate. 2 for 4 tonight with a home run, a single, 3 RBIs. So that, depending on what he does in this at bat, won't hurt that 484 average he brought into the game. Popped up in the infield, and it could be good night. Dick Schofield squeezes it, and the game is over. The Angels win it 7-5 as they came back twice to do so. Bob McClure gets the win. He's 2-0. And Brian Harvey picks up his 23rd save.
Well, again, the Angels are playing very good baseball right now. They're moving runners along, driving in runners, getting well-pitched ball games, but maybe a little too late.
Well, I think you're right, Joe. They're looking forward to next year and getting off on the right foot. For Joe Morgan, this is Steve Zabriskie saying so long from California.
The 180.